YouTube?
We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook.
Copy and paste. I already have. All you gotta do is paste it.
Paste what?
The attendance sheet on the Facebook. It's already there. You
Okay, now I'm gonna put it.
Paste it. Just go onto Facebook, go into the chat, and Control V.
The first one. Okay. You only do English or Spanish as well?
You put the Spanish one there.
Oh shit. Council.
We're live, right?
Yeah, Con.
All right. Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua broke a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alathan Bashem Yashai to the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Shargapan of the I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA, right? And we've been teaching the truth of the Bible since 1969. We started right here in Harlem, New York, 125th Street, right? And we have branched out to almost every corner of this earth to teach so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans their identity according to the Bible, right? And today is Tuesday, the Brotherhood class. So today we're going to be getting into Moses, the Brotherhood of Moses, right? So before we read, I just want to give everyone a little backdrop for those who are not familiar with or who are tuning in to the first time. We're going to be starting in Exodus chapter 2, right? But Exodus chapter 1, our forefathers, our ancestors, the nation of Israel has been living in the land of Goshen, Egypt, the land of Goshen that's in the empire of Egypt, right, or the realm of Egypt for quite some time, right? And we've grown into hundreds of thousands of people, right? And we were living very well because of all the deeds that our ancestor Joseph did for Pharaoh and the favor Joseph had with Pharaoh. But now they came about a time where there was a new Pharaoh that was reigning over Egypt. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they associated with Ramses II. About
God. Wait, I'll get back to you on that one because people aren't sure if it's Ramses or not. God.
Okay. Right? So there's a new Pharaoh that took control over Egypt at this particular time. And this Pharaoh didn't care about who Joseph was. He didn't care about the favor that Joseph had with the previous pharaohs. He didn't care about any treaty or pact or an agreement that the other pharaohs before him had with the people of Israel. He just knew that the people of Israel were growing mightier and stronger. And he was scared and fearful that if anything were to ever break out in Egypt in terms of war with other nations, that the nation of Israel, our ancestors, would side with Pharaoh's enemies. So the Pharaoh during the time of Moses decided to kill Israelites. He decided to enslave Israelites and put us under the most harshest types of oppression and captivity, right? And he started going around having newborn males, I believe up to the age of 2 or 3, up to the age of 2, be put to death, and only have female babies or young female toddlers survived, while all the male toddlers and babies, were put to death. And this is where we begin our story of the Brotherhood of Moses. So I would like for everyone to turn to the book of Exodus, right? And we're going to start in chapter 2. While you guys are getting there, I'm going to just check the chats and everything. All right, so far we're looking good. Remember, if you have any questions on this topic or what we're going over, feel free to type in your questions, all right? Let me check Facebook. Right, any questions on YouTube? All right, so far we're looking good. All right. Okay, so Abadi, can you start reading Baba Gashah?
Khan, you said
Exodus chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 1.
Exodus,
No worries.
Exodus 2 and 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
So there's a man from the tribe of Levi, the so-called Haitians, found a beautiful woman from the tribe of Levi, another Haitian female, to be his wife. Keep going.
2, and the woman conceived and bare a son.
And they got married, they had sex with each other, right? And she gave birth to a son.
2, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
So his mother, being like any other good mother, wants to protect their child beyond anything. So she decided to hide Moses for the first 3 months of his life, because her and her husband were aware that Pharaoh, the Pharaoh that was ruling at this time, wanted all newborn males and toddlers to be put to death, right? Because he wanted to destroy the not only the population of Israel, but Pharaoh knew that the only way a nation could survive is if males were born, because males carried the seed to create a population, to create a nation. So Pharaoh was smart in trying to eliminate all males under the age of 2 to stop the nation of Israel from growing. Right? Keep going.
Khan, sir. Khan. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. So
right now, this sister, not only is she a mother, right, but she's also a sister. And we can't have brotherhood without sisterhood. This woman, this mother, this sister, would do anything to save the life of her child, right? And this is something that our people, speaking about women today, something that we struggle in, because in this day and age, women don't care about their children anymore.
Right.
Women are quick to run to the abortion clinics to have their beautiful princesses and princes put to death before they can even breathe their first breath of air, right? This woman wasn't like that. She would fight and die herself if she had to protect her newborn baby, to protect her child, right? So she decided to create, think of it as a floating crib, right? She gathered bulrushes like woods and twigs and reeds and all that stuff, shaped the form where the baby can lay in comfortably and safely, and spread slime that would end up hardening and protecting the vessel that she created and make it waterproof, right? Keep going. Sorry, read the very last part.
And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink.
And so what she did was, after she put Moses into this structure that she created, she put it right by the river's bank, so that way it would flow down the river, actually flow up the river, because the Nile runs from south to north into the Mediterranean. So that way it would flow up the river. All right, keep going.
For his sister.
Who is what?
His sister.
So Moses had a father, Moses had a mother, Moses had a sister.
Right.
Keep going.
Stood afar off.
She did what?
Stood afar off.
So Moses' sister, Moses' mom is right here, putting baby Moses into the little structure she made into the water, while her daughter, Moses' sister, is standing way down here, where the river is flowing up.
Right.
Keep going.
To wit, what would be done to him?
Because she was going to watch what would happen to Moses. She would be the one to show extreme sisterhood by saving her brother. Right? Keep going. 5.
The daughter of Pharaoh.
Who?
The daughter of Pharaoh.
The daughter of Pharaoh, that evil monster of an Egyptian who was trying to kill the nation of Israel and stop us from growing as a nation. His daughter, keep going.
The daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river.
She came down to take a bath, to clean herself at the river. Keep going.
And her maidens walked along by the river's side.
And her maidens, her female servants, walked by the riverside, which is the bank of the river. The river has two banks, on the left side and the right side of it. So they're walking on the riverside. Keep going.
And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
And the Pharaoh's daughter saw the little ark, the structure that Moses' mother created, and she sent her female servants to go look, to go investigate, to go see what's in it, to go bring it to her. Keep going.
6. And when she had opened it, she saw the child. And
what?
Behold, when she had opened it, she saw the child. And behold, the babe wept. And when she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
Right? So one of her maids found it, brought it to Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh's daughter saw that it was a baby boy in it. And she had compassion. She was moved by watching this little infant baby.
Right.
In the middle of this huge river. The Nile River is humongous.
Right.
Right? All alone, abandoned in this ark. And she had compassion on him. She felt some type of sincerity. She felt sincerity towards this baby abandoned. Keep going. Read the end of verse 6, the very end.
This is one of the Hebrews' children.
And it was said to her that this was one of the Hebrews' children. Yeah, right, bro.
I believe she said it. And she had compassion on him and said it.
See again?
I believe the
Pharaoh's
daughter is the one who realized that it was a Hebrew baby.
Keep going.
John 7. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter.
Who?
His sister.
So here we're learning that Moses' sister is also with Pharaoh's daughter, because Moses' sister was one of the maidens of Pharaoh's daughter. And she said what?
Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women?
And Moses' sister, a maiden of Pharaoh's daughter, told Pharaoh's daughter, would you like me to go get a nurse, a woman who would be able to take care of the child, look after the child, but not just any woman, of the Hebrew woman. She asked if Pharaoh's daughter would like a Hebrew woman to nurse this child. Keep going.
Come, Salakia. 8. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." And the maid went and called the child's mother.
And Pharaoh's daughter said, "Yes, go get me a Hebrew woman to go nurse this child." And Moses' sister showed extreme sisterhood at this very moment. Not only was she so sly to think of something to do like this, she's told Pharaoh's daughter that she knew exactly who would be best to take care of this child.
Yes.
And the person that was, and the sister of Moses, the female servant, the maid servant, the maiden of Pharaoh's daughter, went and got her own mother the mother of Pharaoh, sorry, the mother of Moses, to go be the nurse to take care of Moses himself. Let that sink in for a bit. Is that the door?
Yeah, kind of is.
Let that sink in for a bit while Abadia gets the door, right? Pharaoh's daughter. Hey, what's going on, brother? Shalom Shabbatam. Good seeing you, man. Where you been? Where you been at, man?
Home.
Home? Shit. I live 2 blocks up from you, man. You could have came with me early today.
Oh, so like this. I had to go uptown my father's apartment. They were fixing it.
No sweat, no sweat. I feel you.
All
Back in 12 now?
Let me see back.
Almost signed Christ. All right, so Moses' sister, who's a maiden for Pharaoh's daughter, suggested for Moses to be taken care of by a Hebrew woman to nurse him. And she ends up getting her own mother, Moses' mother, to be that Hebrew woman to nurse Moses. That's extreme sisterhood. They had this plan to save Moses, right? She wanted to make sure that Moses would stay alive. This is how every woman in the I.S.U.P.K thinks. We want our women in this school want every child to survive, because we know the importance of children. Children carry our legacy, right? We know the importance of male children because they pass down the seed to create more Israelite babies. We know the importance of female children because female children grow up, and male Israelites are only allowed to be with female Israelites.
Right.
That's how we keep our nation strong, right? And this sister right here had a plan to save Moses. This sister here was already thinking on how she can save her little brother's life because she was his literal sister. And she was a sister to a brother in need. And Moses, being a baby, can't defend himself. But thank the Lord that the Lord put Moses' sister in that position to be a maid servant. Right? What would they call it again? To be one of Pharaoh's daughters' maiden, to be at that moment at the precise time to be able to save her brother. To be a real sister. And this is something that every Black, Hispanic, and Native American woman, whether you're inside the school or outside the school, that should be your attitude. How can I help save my brother? How can I help save my sister? How can I help save my people? And the answer is to bring them into the I.S.U.P.K, to tell them about the I.S.U.P.K. Right? There wasn't an I.S.U.P.K back then in the time of Moses, right? But the Lord allowed Moses' sister to preserve his life. Let's keep going. We're on verse 9.
Verse 9. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me.
So now Pharaoh's daughter is speaking to Moses' own mother. Moses' mother just put him inside the ark, sailed him down where his sister can watch. His sister is a maiden for Pharaoh's daughter. She saw the ark, brought the ark to Pharaoh's daughter, told the Pharaoh's daughter that she can go, she knows of a Hebrew woman that can nurse this child for her. She said yes. She brought a Hebrew woman to nurse Moses, which was actually her own son, right? And Pharaoh's daughter said, here, take this child and nurse it for me. Feed it, clothe it, look after it, teach it, right? Keep going.
And I will give thee thy wages.
So now she's being paid to take care of her own son, who she put in an ark to save his life from being killed by Pharaoh's daughter's own father. Abadi?
Sister Satara Banaf asked, I'm not sure exactly, but something you were saying. So basically, they're trying to do that as of today.
Yes, Sister Sarah Banaf. Satara Banaf. Our oppressors are always trying to kill us.
Right.
That's why there are abortion clinics all over America.
Right.
And every ghetto next to a church, next to a liquor store, next to a school, next to a hospital, you'll find some type of abortion clinic like Planned Parenthood, where little Black, Hispanic, and Native American children are being murdered before they can open their eyes, before they can breathe their first breath of air, before they can learn how to say mama and dada, before they can learn how to take their first steps. They're being murdered in the womb, right? What else did she say? Let's see.
That was pretty much it.
Okay, let me just take Facebook real quick.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything on Facebook.
All right, we're looking good on Facebook. All right, let's keep going, Moshe. So now Pharaoh's daughter is paying the mother of Moses to take care of her own son, and she doesn't even know that this has all been set up because of the sisterhood that Moses' own sister had. Right? Keep going.
Sir. Salakia, sir. And the child and the woman took the child and nursed it. 10. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
So the child starts growing up, right? When Pharaoh's daughter is able to take care of the child, let's say maybe what? Like 5, 6, right? Because she doesn't have to breastfeed him. She doesn't have to be changing his diapers all the time. He's basically, he's a little self-sufficient.
For anybody familiar with the city, it's like when white kids lose their nanny.
Like what?
When white kids lose their nanny, because people don't understand. Like think of it like how Esau used to and does us. Like they get it from the Egyptians. Like are you familiar? Do you hang out in the city during the daytime or whatever?
Yeah, see all these African women or Haitian women,
a lot of times,
or even Hispanic women taking care of white babies.
But it's not just babies. It's like to 7, 8.
Yeah.
Like meaning like bring him to me when he's a functioning individual that I can tell. Don't act a fool around me in front of these cameras. Like imagine, well, not Charlize Theron. She basically wanted a girl, and she's okay with that. But like imagine imagine Biden's grandson. I can't have you acting a fool around all these cameras. So once he can understand the concept of stop, then you bring him to me.
Got it. All right, let's go continue. We're still in verse 10.
10. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water.
All right, keep going.
11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren.
His what?
His brethren.
Why would it say his brethren? That's because Moses knew who his people were.
Right.
Excuse me. Moses knew that he was not an Egyptian.
Right.
Moses knew by growing up from his own mother,
right,
who his real mother was, who his real sister was, the language that his people spoke. About you?
Yeah, that's like, come on, you're gonna be raised in the house with your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, and then you're gonna be having this random African woman say, "No, that's your mom now."
Right.
Like that was always, nigga, we look alike.
Right. And then your own family is getting paid to raise you.
Right.
That way, when you hit 10 or 11, you can now go back into the palace and be called Pharaoh's daughter's son.
Right.
Right. So he knew who his people were.
So it's like what chapter now?
We're in Exodus chapter 2. Right now we're in verse 11. All right. Let me know when you get it. All right. So when Moses got older, he went out, to explore, to walk around in the city of Egypt right now. And he went to be amongst his brethren, the Hebrew people, the other Israelites, the other tribes of Jacob, right? Keep going.
Count on John. And he spied an Egyptian.
Above it. Make sure you
that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens.
And did what?
went and looked on their burdens.
He looked at the burdens of his people. Now, what was going on during this time? What was going on during this time? What were the burdens of Moses' people?
Talking about the time of Egypt, they were in bondage.
Yep, we were in slavery. But tell me more.
We were in bondage by the Africans, I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe we was. Damn, I don't remember the story so clearly. We were supposed to migrate.
Abadia?
Led by,
What's it called? We were enslaved.
Okay. Yes, we were enslaved. We've been enslaved since Pharaoh took over, before Moses was even born.
Right.
But we were being tortured. We were being whipped. We were being forced to do rigorous work, making bricks with our own with straw that they provided at first. Then they took away the straw and told us we had to go find our own straw to make our own bricks in the same amount of time. You know, we were under extreme oppression.
Right.
Right? Children were being killed, being fed to alligators, you know, separated from their families, right? People dying, building the pyramids and never coming home again. Think of all types of horrendous things that happened to us in slavery here in America. Almost identical was happening to us in Egypt.
Right.
Right? They fed us to alligators here in America.
Right.
They fed us to alligators there in Egypt.
Right.
They whipped the skin off of our backs here in America. They whipped the skins off of our backs there in Egypt. They tore crying babies from their mother's breast in America. They tore crying babies from their mother's breast in Egypt. Right? They raped our women here. They raped our women there. They raped our men here. They raped our men there. Africans are filthy, disgusting heathens. And they did the same type of crimes that so-called white people did to us here in America. Right? Keep going.
Khan, sir. Khan. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brothers.
And Moses saw an Egyptian, most likely today's modern day police officer.
Right.
Or back 100 years, 200 years, a slave catcher or a slave hunter, right? Or all the way back then, a person who was in a charge of the slaves, right, in Egypt. He's seen an Egyptian beating on and hitting a Hebrew man. Like, is it a Hebrew man? A Hebrew. It doesn't specifically say.
But one of his brothers would probably know it's a man. And then when you get into the Hebrew itself.
Because brethren could mean just the people in general. I would have to find if the word in Hebrew is for a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman. You know what I mean? But we're going to continue. He saw an Egyptian beating on one of his people.
But I was going to say it doesn't have to be an authority figure.
Okay.
The brother in Georgia who got beat. Yeah, they basically trapped the brother when he was the cat from last 2020. The cat in Georgia, he was just running. I think he was jogging or whatever, and then the cat stopped him, and then they ended up shooting. Yeah, Khan.
Right. So he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew person. Keep going.
Khan, sir. He saw an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew. 12, and he looked this way and that way.
Now Moses, watching everything play out, having compassion for his people, right? Enraged on what's going on, right in front of his very eyes. He looked to the left and he looked to the right. Keep going.
Khan, sir. He looked this way and that way. And when he saw there was no man, he slew the Egyptian.
And he made sure no one was around watching, right? Moses is now considered to be the Pharaoh's daughter's son, right? That would technically make him the grandson of Pharaoh because Pharaoh's daughter is claiming Moses to be her son.
Right.
So the grandson of Pharaoh looked to the left, looked to the right, made sure no one was watching, and killed this Egyptian who was beating on one of the Hebrew people.
Right.
Now you would think, as the so-called grandson of Pharaoh, You can just order that Egyptian to stop. You can just throw that Egyptian in prison just off of your word of being the grandson of Pharaoh, right? Because as the grandson of Pharaoh, you would inherently have power in Egypt. You would have authority in Egypt. People would listen to you because of your rank or title as Pharaoh's grandson, right? But instead, Moses decided to just kill this man, kill this Egyptian that was beating on one of his people. Keep going. The end of 12.
And hid him in the sand.
And once Moses killed this man, he buried him in the sand. Right? So his body wouldn't be found and no one can find his body. He buried him in the sand. Keep going.
Sir. Slappy. Khan. 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together.
Stop. Now what Moses did was wrong. Moses should have never murdered a person, right? Because what he did was murder. He committed murder when he killed that Egyptian man.
Right.
For beating on one of his people.
Right.
Right? Because like I said, Moses could have used his authority and power to correct the situation. He could have had this Egyptian man publicly whipped just on his word alone. Right? He could have had him thrown in prison. He could have stopped the situation any other way because he's technically known as the grandson of Pharaoh, the son of Pharaoh's daughter. But instead, he broke one of God's laws, right, which was thou shalt not murder. Right? And so on the second day, Moses thinks everything is cool. I'm going to go out of the palace. Did they call them palaces back then?
Yeah, basically.
Palace, castle, whatever you want to call it. And go back out to be amongst his people again. That's like going and living on Park Avenue and 66th Street, right? And one of those multi-million-dollar condominiums inside those million-dollar residential buildings on Park Avenue, and then coming all the way here to 110th Street, 125th Street in the hood. That's what Moses was doing. Keep going.
Also, that wasn't brother.
What?
The brother that he was beating wasn't brother.
It was a man, right?
In the Hebrew, it says I.S.U.P.K, which is
I.S.U.P.K?
Yeah, which is man of the Hebrews.
Man of the Hebrews. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Khan.
Right. So continue where it says, behold.
Behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together.
And Moses, the day before, he saw an Egyptian man beating one of his Hebrew brothers. On the second day, he sees 2 of his Hebrew brothers fighting with each other, punching each other in the face, kicking each other, pushing each other, being straight up disrespectful to each other. Keep going.
Khan, sir. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow?
And he turns to the Hebrew man that was in the wrong. What did you do to cause this? Why are you guys fighting? What's going on? This is basically what he's asking. Keep going.
Khan,
he's trying to be a good brother.
Right.
Like here in the I.S.U.P.K, right? There's a scripture that says, if you have, I'm paraphrasing, if you have a problem with a brother, you go to him and him alone, right? But at this very moment, Moses is seeing a problem play out in front of his eyes between 2 brothers. So as a brother, like every man should in the I.S.U.P.K, you go and investigate the issue. You're not going to continue to see and just lay back and fall back and watch 2 brothers fight one another. You go and investigate it, right? Keep going.
Khan. 14, and he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
And the one that he was questioning got smart with Moses. He said, what?
Slappy. And he said, who made thee a prince?
Who made you a prince? Who made you a ruler? Keep going.
Over us.
And a what?
Over us.
Nope. And a what?
And a judge.
And a judge. Who made you someone who to decide what's right and wrong? Who put you in a position to tell us to stop because we're wrong, or to tell us to keep going because we're right? Who the hell do you think you are? Keep going.
Over us. Intendest thou to kill me?
Do you plan to kill me?
As thou killest the Egyptian?
Just like you killed that Egyptian man yesterday?
Right.
So Moses now knew that there were people watching. There was people that found out what Moses did, that he murdered that Egyptian man. And so now this Hebrew man and one of his brothers are looking at him. What are you going to do? Who do you think you are to tell me what I can and cannot do? You going to murder me? Like you murdered that Egyptian guy the other day? Keep going.
Time on time. Slagia. And said, Slagia, and Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
Now Moses was like, oh, damn, the jig is up.
Right.
Everyone probably knows that I murdered this Egyptian man. I committed a crime.
Right.
Listen, we don't commit crimes here in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
That is not brotherly. That is not an example of brotherhood or sisterhood for us to commit crimes out there in the world. Because here in the I.S.U.P.K, Commanding General YAHANNA has put a has set a bar up here that we are supposed to go above and beyond to be excellent, both in the school and more so out of the school. So if we don't break the laws of God inside the school, that means we're not going to be breaking the laws of our oppressors outside of the school, right? Because we want brothers and sisters to see that we hold ourselves to a high degree. We hold our heads up 46 degrees up, right? We obey the laws of the land, the laws of these oppressors, because by obeying God's laws, we stay safe in the heathens' laws, right? Keep going.
Salaki. And Salaki. Surely this thing is known. 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses.
Now Pharaoh, his grandfather, when he heard what Moses had done, he knew Moses, his grandson, broke the law, broke his law. And now he wanted to put Moses, his grandson, to death. Keep going.
But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well.
So Moses broke out. Moses, like, my grandfather is going to kill me for what I did. I need to leave. And he flees. Say something?
I doesn't necessarily have to be his grandfather. You know, the thing about what's it called? Because the Pharaoh was kind of changed and he was already 40.
Yeah.
So that could be his uncle, like an uncle. And for those who aren't familiar, I kind of have a little understanding of Egyptology. Like the one they usually say is the Pharaoh of Egypt, of the Exodus. That cat alone had 100 children. And then what you have to understand is they're heathen, so they're very evil. It's well known the princes would constantly try to kill each other or succeed. Usually you killed about 10 people in order to become Pharaoh. So what's called the Pharaoh he's dealing with is probably not even his grandfather. Well, probably not even that closely related to him. That's like his mother is probably like the oldest daughter, and the Pharaoh is probably like son number 23.
Could be, right? All right, so we're going to drop it there, right? And we're going to pick up. Where is it?
When he meets the Most High?
Yes.
That would
That's
be
the three,
around,
right?
that really, you can start around 1. 3 and 1.
All right, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 1.
Done. Exodus 3 and 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law.
Wait, sorry. I'm sorry.
You wanted to cover that? Or you wanted? Did you want where you just like?
Go back to Exodus chapter 2, verse 23.
Okay, come.
This is very important to understand
Okay.
the brotherhood of Moses.
Count on
Right?
Johnson.
Keep going.
23.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 23.
23. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto the power by reason of the bondage.
So now this Pharaoh died,
Right?
and the nation of Israel, who was enslaved by Egypt, under the ridiculous amount of oppression by Egypt, cried to the Most High to be saved.
Right.
And the Most High, our power, heard our ancestors' cries.
Right.
Keep going.
24. And the power heard their groaning, and the power remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob.
And God heard our ancestors' cries, and he remembered the covenant that he made with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob.
Right.
Keep going.
25. And the power looked upon the children of Israel, and the power had respect unto them.
And God again turned his eyes back to Israel and had respect unto us. He felt remorse. He felt repentance. He's basically, what was the best way to say it? He's putting a plan in action for his people to be saved. He's setting everything up to fall into place for his people to be out of slavery. Right? Now let's go to chapter 3, verse 1.
3 and 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
So Moses, when he fled to Midian, he fell in love. He married a woman, blah, blah, blah. He fell in love with a heathen woman, right?
Right.
So now he's looking care of the flock. His father-in-law's yeah.
I just want to mention, because I got this confirmed when I first came to class. He knew that he wasn't supposed to do that.
Of course.
If I may, Moses' mother taught him the law.
Correct.
For those who aren't aware.
Right?
Come.
Keep going.
And he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of the power, even to Oreb.
So he's traveling with his flock, right? And he comes to the mountain of God. The mountain Oreb. Is this what it's called?
Oreb, okay.
Yep. Keep going.
Come. 2. And the angel of the Most High.
Who?
The angel of the Most High.
The Most High sent an angel to Moses. Keep going.
Appeared unto him in a flame of fire, out of the midst of a bush.
Now we all heard the story of the burning bush, right?
Right.
Keep going.
And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed.
So the bush was lighting up like it was on fire, but it wasn't being burned as if it really was on fire.
Right.
Keep going.
3. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned.
And Moses goes to investigate. Keep going.
4. And when the Most High saw that he turned aside to see the power called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I.
So now he's speaking to the Lord. The Lord is calling him, and he's saying, Here I am. I'm Moses. I'm here. I am. Keep going. 5.
And he said, Draw not thy hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
So out of respect, Moses had to take off his shoes, his sandals, his whatever type of foot-like apparel they had back then, because he's stepping on hollow ground, holy ground, speaking to the Lord, right?
There's things that those people don't understand, like history or whatever. They had shoes back then.
They did have shoes, right, but they weren't like what we think of today.
Right, yeah, people just barefoot and all that.
Yeah. Some people were barefoot, but some people, like a son of Pharaoh, a grandson of Pharaoh, he would have been had the accessibility to have something that would cover his feet and protect his feet better than just mere slippers or just walking barefoot.
Right. Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the power.
So the Lord is telling him who he is. And Moses is like, oh my God, I'm meeting the God of my forefathers.
Right.
He's putting his face down, like he doesn't dare to look at this burning bush. He doesn't dare to look at who the being that is talking to him through this bush.
Which shows you his mama taught him everything. Why would someone be afraid of the Most High? Maybe because you're married to a heathen.
Right.
Like what's it called? Imagine a sinner who knows the truth, like the Most High or Christ is really in front of you. Oh, I'm about to die. That's the immediate thing. Like I know, like even before the law, it was a known thing. The Most High does not like you going outside and say, "Oh, that's a problem." Yeah, okay, that's what. Yeah, what's good? What you need me for? You're trying to hide your face.
Right. All right, let's continue.
God.
7.
And the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows.
Now, the Lord is telling Moses, listen, I know my people, your people,
Right.
They're suffering in Egypt.
Right.
Keep going.
Sir. 8, and I came down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians.
What?
And I came down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians.
Now God sent the angel down to Moses to tell Moses what he was going to do. Right? Because Moses didn't deliver his people out of the hands of the Egyptians. The Lord delivered his people out of the hands of the Egyptians. Right. He just used Moses to do what he wanted to be done.
Right.
Keep going.
God. And to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites.
And he's telling Moses, this is what's going to happen. My people are going to be freed from Egypt, and they're going to go live in this wonderful land that I promised their forefathers.
Right.
Keep going.
9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them.
Keep going.
10. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh.
What?
Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh.
God didn't ask Moses if he wanted to do this. God told Moses, come, because this is what you're going to do. I'm going to send you to I'm going to send you, Moses, to Pharaoh. Keep going.
That thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
And you are going to go get my people, your brothers and sisters, out of Egypt. This is what you're going to do. Keep going.
11. And Moses said unto the power, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
And Moses is like, me? Little old me? I'm a nobody. Who am I to do this great thing that you want done? Keep going.
God.
12.
And he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee.
And God said, don't worry about it, because I'm going to be with you. You're going to do what I tell you to do, because this is what I want to be done. And I'm going to be there with you the entire way. Before I wasn't there with you. I was there. Let me rephrase that. I was there with you when you were being hunted. I was there with you when you were put into that basket. I was there with you when you were sailed down that riverbank, and I was there with you the entire time you grew up in Pharaoh's house. But now you are going to know that I'm with you. Right? Keep going.
12. And he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee.
And here I'm going to give you something to be proof that the Lord of Israel has sent you to go do this work, to go do this job. Keep going.
When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the power upon this mountain.
And when you've done what I told you to do, when you've completed my task, my mission, the purpose that I'm putting on you, you're going to bring everyone and they're going to serve me. They're going to serve me right here in this mountain. About you.
That is like the most like Jake thing to really say to somebody. How if I know it'll be true? Yo, when you get back and the shit go and everything go how I say it's gonna go, that's how you know.
Right? That's exactly what happens here in the I.S.U.P.K. Commander YAHANNA tells General Muhammad, this is what's going to be done.
Right.
General Muhammad, he's such a brother and a trooper to Commander YAHANNA. He don't ask questions. He just does it calm. But for a new brother to come into the school, right? Think of that as Moses being first meeting the Lord. Right. A trooper first meeting Commander YAHANNA. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and when I do it, this is what we're all going to do. Right? Keep going.
Khan, because if I may, sir.
Yeah, what's up?
Because basically what the Most High is saying to him is, look, here's the proof that I'm with you. If you get out, when you get out and get over here, get back here to worship me, that's how you know I was with you.
Yep. that's basically it.
Like, I love the Most High.
That's like, you're going to do what I say because I say so, and when it happens, you're going to know it's because I said so.
Right.
All right, keep going, verse 13.
13. And Moses said unto the power, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel and shall say unto them, the power of your fathers have sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them?
Now Moses is starting to ask questions now, and he shouldn't be worried about these. He shouldn't be worried about them. He's just seen a bush burn,
right? A
bush on fire, the bush not burning to crisp. There's a voice coming through this bush, and he's still going to be asking questions like, what did I just say? Isn't this proof enough? Keep going.
14, and the power said unto Moses, I am that I am.
And God checks the hell out of Moses right now, because you don't have to ask who I am. I'm everything. I'm the reason why you have oxygen flowing through your lungs right now. I'm the reason why you have 2 feet that are stepping on these rocks. I'm the reason why you're gonna go back and eat some lamb. Right. I'm the reason why there's a Pharaoh. I'm the reason why there's water that you drink. I'm the reason why the sun comes up and the moon comes up when the sun goes down and the stars come out at night. I'm that reason. I am who I am.
John.
You should already know who I am, nigga.
Right.
Like you should have heard about me.
Right.
You gonna say something?
I just wanted to for anybody who thinks that's really his name. Like, people don't even understand. If I were to say, tell them I am that I am, what would you have to say as the messenger?
What would I have to say as the messenger?
John, you'd have to say, you wouldn't say I am that I am.
You would say,
you'd say
the one.
Well, technically, you would say he is who he is.
True.
Because that's the second and third what's it called. So that's what Moses actually said.
In terms of persons.
Right, first person and third person. Because like in certain people think his name is I am that I am. No, Moses had to go. He is who he is. And when you understand that, you understand exactly what he means.
Yes.
I'm the dude who's going to get it done. That's all you need to know.
Correct.
Come. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am sent me unto you. The captain's going to get the captain's going to get it done.
Yep.
That's all you need to know.
I was sent by the one, and this is what's going to happen.
Right.
Keep going.
15. And the power said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the most high power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Unto all generations. Salaam.
Keep going, man.
Wanted to keep going? 15. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say unto them, the most high power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen that which was done to you in Egypt.
Right? Let's keep going. Let's pass all this. Because at the end, Moses accepts this mission.
Right.
He has no choice.
Right.
And here in the I.S.U.P.K, As a brother here in this school,
Right.
you don't have a choice.
Right.
When you get an order, you do that order.
Right.
As a sister here in this school, you don't have a choice. If you're given a command to do, you are to follow that command. If a woman comes in here for the first time and she's dressed inappropriately, she's commanded to leave and dress more appropriately to come back. Otherwise, she cannot be in here. Same thing goes for a brother. And the reason why is because in order to have brotherhood and sisterhood, you have to be able to obey. And we obey the things that we're told to do here in this school. We're obeyed to do things that are told to us throughout this entire school, from New York to Texas to Florida to California to Canada and Alaska, all the way down to Mexico and Dominican Republic. We obey our orders.
John.
Because we can't survive as a nation if we don't obey orders. We can't have brotherhood without obeying orders. We can't have sisterhood without understanding that we're told how to act to one another. Excuse me. We can't have sisterhood without being told how we should act towards one another. And once we're told how we're supposed to act towards one another, we're supposed to carry out like what God said. You're going to do what I tell you to do because I told you to do it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to find out why I told you to do it. You're supposed to speak kindly to one another. Because at the end of the day, when you do speak kindly to each other, you're going to realize why you were told to speak kindly to each other. You're going to realize why you were told to feed one another. You will realize why you were told to love one another, to care for one another, to be there for one another, right? To suffer with one another, to celebrate and cry with joy with one another, because it's going to bring you together as a nation. It's going to increase your brotherhood with each other. It's going to increase your sisterhood with each other. Because at the end of the day, right, Abadia, the whole point is to regain our nation.
Right.
The whole point is to regain our kingdom. The whole point is to prove to the Lord that we deserve for our King Yahushua, who you call Christ, to be sent back down to us. And we cannot do that without brotherhood.
Right.
We cannot do that without sisterhood.
Right.
And one of the ways that it starts is by obeying orders.
Right.
And Moses is obeying this order. Let's go down. I want to go to when he goes back to Pharaoh and he's telling Pharaoh what to do in all the plagues. I think that's chapter 5.
5.
Yeah, start with sure.
5 and 1.
Yeah, start 5 and 1.
5, and afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh.
So Moses meets up with his biological brother,
right,
Aaron, right? He tells Aaron, this is the rundown. This is what we're going to do. Boom, 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 boom. And they both go to see Pharaoh. Keep going.
God, and told Pharaoh, thus saith the Most High Power of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
So Moses didn't ask Pharaoh. He told Pharaoh that my God, the God of my people, told me to tell you to let my people go, so that way we can go celebrate a feast in the wilderness. Keep going.
2, and Pharaoh said, who is the Most High that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?
And Pharaoh's like, who's this God that you talk about that's demanding me to let your people go? Who is he? About it?
If I may, there's 2 things I just want to mention.
Now, go ahead, brother.
First thing I want to mention is like one thing I always like to mention about Exodus. Exodus had nothing to do, like all 10 plagues was not about our freedom. The 10 plagues was about a 3-day vacation for every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. A national 3-day vacation for us. Yeah, that's out the question. I will let my country burn before I give you 3 days off of work.
Because the Passover wasn't even in the thought process of Moses.
Right.
Moses didn't even know that the Lord was going to be planning something for us to always keep from every generation called the Passover.
Right.
And then the feast of unleavened bread, right, for seven more days.
Right.
He had no idea. We're just going to go and
in the
chill out in the
wilderness,
wilderness, serve our Lord, and we're going to come back 3 days later.
Right.
Right?
No.
You went from 3 days to 8 days.
Right.
And freedom for the rest of freedom until, we end up sinning again.
Right. And then the last thing I wanted to remember, this is the first time any Israelite is hearing the Most High's name.
Yes. Correct.
So now you have a Pharaoh, because if you do research, the heathen did know of the terrible God, but before that,
they didn't care.
Yeah,
otherwise they would never put us into.
They already called him the terrible God.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have who? Oh, but that's a name for the terrible. Oh, just about that. We serve Ra over here. Right.
So like I don't know this. I'm getting thrown up by his lab on the base on where we was when we was doing the unleavened bread and all that.
Right. Passover.
Yeah.
And the Feast of Unleavened Bread wasn't the reason why Moses was telling Pharaoh to let our ancestors go. It wasn't even in Moses' mind that there was going to be such a thing as Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Right.
Moses just knew that God wanted us to go into the wilderness for 3 days to serve him and worship him, and we're going to come back to be slaves to Egypt until next year.
Right.
Or even not even that maybe.
Right.
Right?
I just want one.
So like this whole thing and
Just speak up.
And this might be like I don't know if it's just Catholic concept with like be religious, but then that they concept everything in religion.
Correct.
I remember being a child that they usually do like this retreat to go to the mountains.
Huh.
Yeah, and I was like, the hell are we doing? And I remember one time we was in a bus, like one of those big buses, and the bus tipped over with all of us.
Oh,
I mean, everything fell. I felt like sideways, and we was by a ledge, literally. And when we got out, I was panicked, because imagine, I must have been like maybe 5, something like that.
Right.
And I never understood what the hell we were doing in the damn mountain. I knew that a lot of people eating it and food and stuff. I'm like, but I knew that, because this is during springtime too. So I knew as I grew, like it was some sort of Easter, I believe that time.
Gotta do something. Like, we're gonna be like the Israelites and go up on the mountain.
Yeah, because growing up in the Catholic Church, we didn't celebrate the Lord's Passover. Right. We celebrated some white Easter.
Yeah, God.
When we went hunting for, I remember making tie-dye eggs the day before. And hiding chocolate around my grandmother's backyard for all my younger siblings and cousins and nephews and nieces to go look, having to dress up and having a bunny come, a man in a bunny costume come, and we all sat on his lap to take pictures one at a time. It was some stupid nonsense.
So I just wanted to clarify, I didn't know the Catholics do go bunny hard when it comes to Easter?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought that was more Protestant.
So during that time, this will be like sort of a cookout we'll have, like in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
So I used to think, I know this ain't my family member, because I remember where we was at, we're in DR, but from where I was to where we were, it was practically in the side of Haiti, like in these mountains. I'm like, what the hell we cook it, like eating for days. I don't know.
I remember going into the Catholic church that my mom took me to with my Easter basket, so that way the priest can come by and bless it while you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Wow.
My Easter bunny eggs and chocolate inside. My Easter bunny M&M peanut filled bunny.
That's right. And they bless it.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep reading.
Salakia.
On the end of 2.
And that I should obey his voice to let Israel go. I know not the Most High, neither will I let Israel go.
I don't know your guy. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know that person. That person has no power over here. And I'm not going to let Israel go. I'm not going to let your people go free to go into the wilderness. I ain't doing that. Keep going.
Salakia. 3, and they said, the power of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray you. 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Most High our power, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword.
Now they're saying, listen, Pharaoh, please let us do this. Let us go serve Let us go serve our God for 3 days and we're going to come back. Otherwise, the Lord is going to put everyone to death.
Right.
The Lord is going to kill everyone. The Lord is going to bring all types of plagues and famines and things beyond your understanding. And you don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen to us. Keep going.
For the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works get you unto your burdens?
He's like, you expect me to not have slaves to work and do what I need to be done for 3 days? Y'all niggas crazy. Go back to work. Keep going.
God 6, and Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. 6, and Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, ye shall no more give the people straw to make bread, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves.
And Pharaoh's like, you know what? Since you had the audacity to think that you had time to go and party and do whatever the hell you want in the wilderness, listen, now I'm going to make it so that way you don't have the time to think about going to serve your God. I'm going to make your burden so hard that all you're going to think about is making sure what I need done is done. Make sure they don't get the straws to make their jobs easier. Have them go search for the materials to make the bricks that I want to build my house, to build my palace, to build my pyramids. Keep going.
8, and the tale of the bricks which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our power.
And they're like, come on, just let us go so we can sacrifice to God, so we can worship our God. You're making our burdens impossible and extremely difficult to do. Keep going.
Cancer. SHALAM. Cancer. 9. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain work.
Right? He's like, give them all this extra work so they don't think about stupid things like going to serve their God that does not exist. If their God existed, they wouldn't be here in slavery for all these years.
Right.
Right? Is this all right? Hold on 1 second.
John.
Go verse 22.
22. And Moses returned to the Most High and said, Most High, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me?
Now Moses is asking the Lord, look what happened. They just became worse to us. Why is it that you sent me here? Keep going.
23. For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people. Neither hast thou delivered thy people at all.
Moses had just treated us worse.
Well, Pharaoh.
Sorry, yes. Slaki, not Moses. Pharaoh is just treating our people more horribly than before. And you, the Most High, hasn't delivered us from Pharaoh yet. Keep going.
John 6:1. Then the Most High said unto Pharaoh, now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. Now
this is when Moses realized started to realize the plan that God had. Because Moses, after this moment, Moses realized that he could not give up. Moses soon realized that Pharaoh was going to keep saying no, and that he's not going to be able to be discouraged. He's not going to have the ability or be in the position to back down, right? Because how many plagues? There was what? 7 plagues? No, there was what?
10 plagues.
10 plagues in Egypt, right?
Yes.
There was 10 plagues of Egypt. And each time before every plague, right? Pharaoh said no. Pharaoh made the lives of the Israelites harder. I'm sure I'll take some more. Made the lives of Israelites harder. The Lord allowed Moses to do some miraculous thing in front of Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, I can do it too. And the Lord allowed Pharaoh to do these, that's fine. The Lord allowed Pharaoh to do these miraculous things to make Pharaoh, boost up his ego. Right? About you?
Like a vaccine.
Huh?
Like a vaccine.
What are you trying to get at?
Meaning what's called Esau thinks he's done with the coronavirus, but there's always a new variant, and they're always wondering, is this going to be the variant that the vaccine uses?
Understood. Okay, I get what you're saying. Right? So Moses is knowing, right, that brotherhood means never giving up.
Right.
Because Moses could have gave up right here after he went to speak to the Lord. Right. Moses could have gave up after Pharaoh had his 2 magicians turn their staffs into snakes. Right. Moses could have gave up when Pharaoh lied and said he's not letting them go when boils were all over the people, or when locusts were all over the place, right? Or when the Nile River turned red with blood, right? Moses could have gave up when denied the order from the Lord by Pharaoh, but he didn't. Because real brotherhood, real sisterhood is perseverance. You have to keep going until the mission is seen all the way through. You have to keep going, even if you can't anymore. Like the new Hebrew Academy, what you call it? Now I don't want to call them prospects. All the new brothers that are in Hebrew Academy now, brotherhood is keep going. Brotherhood is not stopping, even though your body wants to stop. Brotherhood is not stopping, even when your mind is telling you that it hurts, that you need to stop or you're going to die. Brotherhood is pushing all the way through, and it's the same with sisterhood, right? Sisterhood is all about following through, but it's about seeing everything you do done to the very end. And Moses had brotherhood because he knew what the mission was. Right. And he knew that it was up to him to accomplish this mission. Right. Just like Commanding General YAHANNA, his mission is to save and wake up as many so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans so that way Christ can return. He has not given up on that mission because he loves his people that much. Because he loves our King Yahweh that much. Because just like Moses, just like you're going to learn if you read the rest of Exodus, right? Moses loved the Lord. Right. Moses loved his people, and he never gave up. Right. He kept going until his people were finally free. Right. What's he doing?
No.
Right. What time is it? Any?
39.
Let me check any.
Salam, I didn't see any more questions. Check. I'm looking at what's called YouTube. Let me see Facebook.
YouTube.
Actually, I don't see any questions on. Yeah, no Facebook questions either.
No Facebook questions? Nope. I see slavery bondage.
I think we'll go with this answers.
Let me just take Facebook one more time.
Yeah, come.
Headquarters. No question on headquarters.
Salabi, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead,
on the subject of brotherhood. Sometimes brotherhood is doing things you really don't know the answer to. Like sometimes brotherhood is doing something you don't know the answer to. You don't have the answers. You don't know. Like especially like I'm gonna use it for the Moses and the nation, but Even a brother coming into the school or debating if I should come into the school, you know. Like I remember Captain Zayat said this to Sanetta. Everything we do is based on faith, and not just talking about the school. That's anyone, period. Just like when Blackity Black Hats, they're going off the faith of some mainly white men who looked at Egyptian wall paintings. That's your faith. But we put our faith in the Most High and the experiences of our ancestors. Moses didn't have that.
No.
Moses really just
he barely had that.
Well, yeah, Con, he barely had that. Like he had the word of, I mean, he literally had the word of slaves. That there, even though you may see us as slaves, our ancestors made a contract with the God of the universe. And one day we won't be slaves. God will just destroy these people. Like we really had to go off like barely any faith, and Moses was able to do it, and because of it, his nation prospered.
That's basically what Commanding General YAHANNA is doing now.
God,
because our people,
God,
we don't have faith in the real God.
Right.
Our people are filled these Christian churches.
Right.
They fill these Muslim mosques.
Right.
They fill these Catholic and Protestants and Baptists and Episcopalian and all these other stupid religious institutions, but they don't have faith in the book that they read from. They don't have enough faith to know that God only loves them. They don't have enough faith to know that if they obey God's laws, that they can be ruling the world. They don't have enough faith that if they just treated each other with brotherhood and sisterhood instead of looking down at that homeless man begging for money,
right?
Instead of sleeping with that other man's wife, instead of sleeping with the pastor when you had a husband, right? They don't have enough faith to know that if they just did what the Lord wanted them to do, that we can be ruling this entire earth, right? And a brother Ayash Allah put a good scripture in here. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. Let's turn to that real quick.
1 Corinthians?
Yep. Verse 14 and 40, because this goes right along with having brotherhood, right along with sisterhood, right? Let me know when you guys got it.
I got it.
Hold on 1 second. You got it?
Come on.
I read.
1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order.
And that's basically what we have to do to have unbreakable brotherhood and unbreakable sisterhood. Everything needs to be in order. Everything has an order, and everything must be done in a manner where it flows properly, right? In order to have brotherhood, as we're learning from the story of Moses, right? You're given an order, and you complete that order. You do what you're told, and you get it done. Because what happens if you don't get the order done? What happens if you don't complete the order as it was described to you, as it was told to you?
If you don't complete the order as it's told to you?
Correct.
There can be consequences, small consequences or dire consequences.
Correct. There can be small consequences and dire consequences to you not completing that order. And by you not completing that order, you jeopardize our brotherhood. You jeopardize sisterhood.
Right.
You jeopardize the strength of a nation. Right. When you don't complete what's being told to you. Abadi?
Like Saul.
Like Saul. And we'll get there as well as the brotherhood classes go on. I'm just working my way from the beginning.
Yeah,
that way we get to the end.
Yeah,
that's going to be a great example, right? Also the example with not touching the Midianitish gold and garment.
Right. Yeah, God.
Right.
They killed like 30 people after that. Correct. That got 30 people killed. Meaning like when we went to war, that was about 30 people that died. Yeah.
Well, no, more than that, because then his family died.
Well, we don't count those sinners.
You know, but that's but we do count the sinners.
Well, yeah,
because they wouldn't have been called sinners and wouldn't have been put to death if he would have just followed that order.
Concept.
Right. So with that, we're going to conclude today's class. The Brotherhood of Moses. Right. This is something we all need to have. We all need to love our people enough to sacrifice everything. Because imagine, Pharaoh has real power.
Right.
And all Israel knew was the power of Pharaoh.
Right.
They didn't know the power of their God. They haven't seen the power of their God.
Right.
All they knew were the whips that Pharaoh put on them.
Right.
All they knew were the harsh conditions of labor that Pharaoh put them under. All they knew was the starvation that Pharaoh gave them. They didn't know the joy and the power of the true living God, the Most High. Right? And Moses, he kept going. He didn't give up. Because the love of his God and the love of his people didn't allow him to give up. It didn't allow him to be discouraged. And many people here, they leave the truth because they get discouraged. They lose their will. They forget that they should be loving their people. They forget that a job means nothing when compared to serving the Lord. And with that, I pass the class over to priest and prophet of 1,000 Abadi. Shalom, Israel. You can
Oh, Salam.